hit on the scene.
Damn.
According to the cops, it was a targeted hit and not just a random shooting. But right now,
It had to be. If they got him right after the funeral, bro, they know exactly who they was looking for.
A white Ford Explorer with tinted windows leaving the area, but the cops don't have any suspects in the case yet. Big Jook and the other dude.
No suspects and no license plate. Nigga, the cops don't really be doing that anyway, bro. Niggas in the streets, they most likely already know what happened, who was involved. You feel me? Niggas talk. You feel me? So cops probably wasn't gonna solve it anyway.
Who got
nigga,
shot?
whoever did it, they probably gonna get caught up with eventually, bro.
Had just left the funeral for Jook and Gotti's uncle, Eric Bovan, aka Las Vegas Eric. Eric was a big-time hustler back in the day who allegedly ran a massive drug ring that Gotti and Jook's aunts were affiliated with.
Yo Gotti's brother, Big Jook, has been killed in Memphis. First condolences to Yo Gotti and his family. Sad situation, man. Gotti's brother has been part of Yo Gotti's life for a while, and he's been somebody that's helped Yo Gotti be where he's at in his life right now. So sad situation there. Condolences to them. I did cover the Yo Gotti versus Young Dolph beef. In covering that, which is the video Yo Gotti versus Young Dolph, what really happened. In covering that, I got more well-informed on the history between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti. And we, as the public, I don't think we'll ever know how deeply rooted this beef is. And I'm talking significantly deep, like deeply rooted. Like very deep. Like this has so much street ties to it, so much street stuff that nobody will, unless somebody just comes out and snitches, nobody's going to know the full details of this. This was not a rap beef.
This is the problem, lad. A lot of the celebrities, they have a voice. They do their music. What people don't realize, when you have a beef, these are real street guys. I will still pull up and spray and do what I got to do. Big Jook, he did troll Young Dolph people. Y'all, he laughed. The man was, telling them, I'm going to pay y'all bill. I know y'all. So now you testing these guys' manhood. Just because the world don't see them, but the homies, the people in the hood see them. So all it takes is one step or one real dude to be like, man, what's that? Y'all ain't gonna pull up and handle y'all business? And the way they doing now, man, I'm scared of them, black. And I'm from the street. That's why I stay out the way, bro. I travel, I be out the way, man, because these little youngsters ain't playing.
Broad daylight, outside a funeral gathering. And just like that, another life is gone. Not in a studio, not behind a microphone. Right there in public, where nobody expected it. What makes this story different isn't just who it happened to, it's what people believe it's connected to. Because if you trace this moment backwards, it doesn't start in 2024. It starts years earlier, with a decision that changed everything. And once you see the full picture, it stops looking like isolated incidents and starts looking like a chain reaction. Anthony Big Jook Mims wasn't just known for being related to Yo Gotti. Behind the scenes, he was seen as someone who had real influence, especially around CMG, the label that grew into one of the biggest names in Southern hip-hop. While Gotti handled the spotlight, Jook was often described as someone who moved differently, more low-key, more calculated. He showed up everywhere, events, shows, major moments, but rarely as the center of attention. And in cities like Memphis, reputation doesn't just come from what you show, it comes from what people believe you're capable of. That's why his name carried weight. But his story doesn't stand on its own. Because to understand how things escalated, you have to bring in another name. Back in the early 2000s, Yo Gotti reportedly saw potential in a rising artist, Young Dolph. The idea was simple: bring him into CMG. But Dolph had a different vision. Instead of signing, he chose independence. At the time, that might have looked like just another business decision, but then it became public. Interviews, subtle comments, energy shifting, and then came the moment that changed how people saw everything. Dolph dropped a project and leaned into the title King of Memphis. Now that wasn't just branding, that was a statement, because that same title had already been associated with Gotti. From that point on, this wasn't just about music anymore. Once things turned public, it didn't take long for the tension to show up in the music. Lines got sharper, posts got more direct, and eventually, other names started getting pulled into it. Artists connected to both sides began speaking, posting, reacting. At first, it looked like typical rap competition, but then situations started happening outside of music. Incidents, close calls, reports that made fans stop and pay attention. Dolph, at one point, survived situations that could have ended very differently. And through it all, he kept going, dropping music, building his brand, staying independent. Then suddenly, everything went quiet, at least on the surface. From the outside, things looked calm between 2018 and 2021. No major public back and forth, no obvious escalation. But according to later courtroom discussions, that calm may not have reflected reality. Prosecutors would later claim that tensions never fully disappeared, that certain lines crossed in music weren't forgotten. At the same time, Dolph was building something serious. Paper Route Empire wasn't just a label, it was becoming a movement. New artists were gaining traction, the brand was growing, and independence was proving to be powerful. Two different paths, two different systems, existing in the same city. Then came the moment that changed everything. November 2021, Thanksgiving week, a time usually associated with giving back. Dolph was in Memphis, reportedly active in the community during that period. Then, in a moment that shocked the entire industry, he lost his life. The location, the timing, the way it happened. Everything about it hit hard. Fans, artists, the city itself. Everyone reacted. Almost immediately, questions started spreading. Who was responsible? Was it random, or was it something deeper? Authorities moved quickly, making arrests and building a case. But the full story would take years to come out. As the legal process unfolded, details began surfacing that shifted public understanding of the situation. Testimony in court introduced serious claims, including allegations about how the situation may have been organized. One of the most talked about moments came when a suspect took the stand and described the events from his perspective. Names were mentioned, roles were explained, and for many watching, it changed how they saw everything. Still, it's important to remember, these were claims presented in court, not all of them proven beyond doubt. Some individuals were convicted, others faced different outcomes. But one name kept coming up in those discussions, a name that would never appear in court. January 2024, Memphis. A gathering meant to honor someone who had passed. And then, chaos. Gunfire broke out, and Big Jook was struck, in broad daylight, at a location tied to family and community. Authorities later confirmed it was a targeted situation, not random. And just like that, another major figure connected to this long-running tension was gone. No immediate arrests, no clear answers. But online, people immediately started connecting dots. Speculation spread fast. Some believed it was retaliation, others warned people to stop jumping to conclusions before facts were released. Because officially, nothing had actually been confirmed. And that's where things became even more complicated. After Jook's death, rumors started circulating all over again. Claims about possible retaliation, talk about new targets, whispers about people moving differently behind the scenes. None of it was confirmed publicly. But it was enough to keep fans, bloggers, and entire communities watching closely. Every new post suddenly meant something, every cryptic lyric got analyzed, every appearance sparked debate online. People started wondering whether the situation was cooling down or quietly escalating behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Yo Gotti has remained mostly silent throughout the situation. No long interviews, no emotional public breakdowns, no detailed explanations about what was happening behind the scenes. Just business moves, performances, public appearances, and life continuing forward in front of the cameras. And maybe that silence says something, or maybe it doesn't. Because in situations like this, silence can mean a lot of different things. Sometimes people stay quiet to protect themselves. Sometimes they stay quiet because lawyers are involved. And sometimes the real story never fully reaches the internet at all. What's clear, though, is this. What may have started years ago as rap tension and personal disagreements slowly turned into something much heavier. The music became connected to real-life consequences. The rumors became tied to real people, and the line between entertainment and reality started getting harder to separate. Now, people aren't just watching for music anymore. They're watching to see what happens next. And now, multiple lives have been lost along the way. When you step back and look at the full timeline, it's hard to ignore how small the starting point originally seemed. A business deal that never happened, a title that got challenged, competition over who really ran the city, Then came the diss records, the sneak shots, the interviews, the tension building publicly while even more rumors spread privately behind the scenes. At first, it looked like the kind of rap beef the internet sees all the time. Fans picked sides, people argued online, artists responded through music. But over time, the situation started feeling different, because eventually, the headlines stopped being only about songs. They became about investigations, violence, loss, and names connected to the situation ending up dead. That's when people started realizing this wasn't just entertainment anymore. Families were affected, friends disappeared, careers shifted overnight, and an entire city watched everything unfold in real time, trying to separate facts from rumors while social media made the situation even louder. Every new incident added another layer to the story. Every rumor created more speculation, and every silence from the people involved only made the internet talk even more. Some people believe the entire situation has been exaggerated online. Others think the public only knows a small fraction of what's really happened behind closed doors. And honestly, that uncertainty is part of what keeps people paying attention, because after everything that's happened, there still hasn't been a clear conclusion. No final explanation, no moment where everyone involved sat down and addressed everything publicly. No clean ending where people can finally say the story is over. Instead, there are still unanswered questions, still theories, still tension that people believe never fully disappeared. And maybe that's the most unsettling part of all, because as long as those questions remain, so does the possibility of what comes next. So now the real question is this: does the story finally slow down here? Do the people connected to it move on and leave the past behind? Or is this just another chapter in something that still isn't finished? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, this story became much bigger than music a long time ago. And whether people were watching for the drama, the headlines, or the artists themselves, everyone ended up witnessing how quickly things can spiral once real life and rap politics collide. For now, the questions are still unanswered, the rumors are still circulating, and people are still watching closely to see what happens next. If anything major develops, you already know this story will be right back in the spotlight. And honestly, that might be the scariest part of all. If you made it this far, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this situation finally cools down from here, or do you believe there's still more to the story that the public doesn't know yet? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you never miss the latest updates, stories, and deep dives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.